We signed 6 kids out of North Dakota, which is still the lifeblood of our program, making sure that we get these North Dakota kids to come to NDSU to play football, and we're excited about that. Eric Bachmeyer. Eric is from Kindred High School, or just down the road in Kindred, North Dakota. He was a camp kid for us, and that's going to be kind of an overriding theme that you're going to hear a lot of. A lot of kids that we signed came to our camp either in June or July, so we really got a great first-hand evaluation of a lot of guys, and Eric's one of those guys with it. He's obviously coached by former Bison player Cody Kittleson. He's a 2-time first-team All-State player. Started 4 years at quarterback, wide receiver, defensive back, did a little bit of everything. Scored 72 career touchdowns. He's going to play in the Mondak Bowl this summer, which is a big game, and he's also an excellent track runner as well. Been on the state 4x1, 4x2, 4x4 team. So Luke Bacon, big offensive lineman from Granville, North Dakota. Plays at Towner Granville Upham High School. 6'5", 280 pounds, and he was another camp kid that really did a great job at camp. I know we were really impressed with him, watching him as a lineman on either side of the ball with it. And he's a 2-time All-State selection, finished his career with 254 career tackles, so he really was an active kid on defense with it. 3-year starter in basketball, averaging double figures in points and rebounds. And he's also going to play in the Mondak Bowl this summer, and his dad actually attended NDSU as well. Stanley Jones. Stanley Jones from Bismarck High School in Bismarck, North Dakota. Stanley's a 6'4", 215-pound defensive end, and he was a terror in camp. I remember going and watching him in camp when Coach Gazer was going through some drills and stuff, and really active kid. It's fun to watch him on video. Does a lot of great things off the edge with it. 2-time state champ there at Bismarck High, first-team All-State player. Broke the high school sack record with 13.5, had over 130 career tackles, and he's lettered 3 times in track and a part of 3 state championship teams. So he's a winner. Obviously, the success he's had at Bismarck High School. He's also going to play in the Mondak Bowl this summer. Next, from North Dakota, Tanner Volson. Tanner Volson's another camp kid, 6'4", 268-pound offensive lineman from Balfour, North Dakota, went to Drake High School. And Tanner came to camp and was an exceptional player for us. I remember getting a chance to see him as I was evaluating offense and defensive linemen with it. I was able to watch him practice a little basketball. Really good athlete, very athletic guy that we see that can probably play guard or tackle for us. He was a 4-year starter at Drake. He played offensive line, defensive line. He was a fullback some. He set a school record for the most rushing yards in a game, and for a kid 6'4", 268, I know as a DB I wouldn't want to tackle him. So he recorded 231 tackles and 36 sacks in his career. Very active, and we're excited to have Tanner join our program as well. Let's look at some of the signees from Minnesota. We had 7 guys from Minnesota. Minnesota's been a great state for us as well. We've had a lot of, you look at last year's senior class with it, and we had unbelievable kids out of the state of Minnesota, and that's an area that is of a big priority to us. Aji Ajaya. Aji is a running back from Spring Lake Park High School, and he came to camp, really long, athletic, very, very fast kid, was a first-team All-State kid. Defensive Player of the Year in his league in the North Suburban Conference. AG could play running back. He could play linebacker. He can do a lot of things with his length and with his speed and stuff. And we're going to start off AG as a running back position for us. He was a 3-year starter at the wide receiver, running back, linebacker. He's also a 3-year letter winner in track, All-State in the triple jump, and a real quality kid. You'll enjoy getting to know AG with it. Kayvon Hawkins. Another kid that was a camp kid from Robbinsdale High School in Minnesota with it. And Kayvon's a big wide receiver. He's 6'1", 207 pounds. He was one of the top linebackers we had at camp as well. He and Marlette were. So when we look at Kayvon at 6'1", 207, playing wide receiver, gives us a guy kind of like that Vra capability, real physical guy with tremendous speed. He was a 3-year starter, played wide receiver. He was a long snapper. He kicked, he punted, did a little bit of everything. He was a track standout within the disc, the 100, the 200, long jump, did a little bit of everything with it. you really like Kayvon. He does a great job with leadership skills. He's been a captain, and we're excited about Kayvon coming to NDSU. Greg Menard. Greg Menard's from Lakeville, Minnesota, from Lakeville North High School. Greg tried to attend our camp. He was at our camp, but he had an ankle injury, and he kind of had that ankle bother him a little bit, but he was a first-team All-State performer, and he was a guy that we've been really impressed with. He's been on our campus a number of times with it. He was a 3-year starter. He's played D-line, he's played linebacker, he's played running back, he's played fullback. Really athletic guy. He set a school record with 14 sacks as a senior. Finished his career with 178 tackles, 24 sacks, and 5 touchdowns. Very, very explosive. Really explosive. Probably, if you'd look at a guy he's 6'2", 227, a little bit in the Kyle Emanuel mold. Now, that's big shoes to fill and look up to with Kyle Emanuel, but he's that kind of explosive guy with it, and we're excited about Greg joining the program. The next guy from Minnesota, Christian Triplett. Christian's from Delano High School in Maple Plain, Minnesota. Big offensive lineman, 6'4", 305 pounds. Really athletic guy. We saw him running routes as a tight end, playing some defensive line, playing some offensive line. Excited about what Christian brings to the table for us from an athletic side of things as an offensive lineman. Really strong and powerful kid, 2-time all-conference player. He had over 200 tackles in his career with it. So he's also a heck of a baseball player. He's a first baseman, and he captained his baseball team in the state tournament. But he pitches, plays first base. A lot of great things that we're excited about Christian with. Let's go to the state of Wisconsin and talk about some of the guys that we signed from Wisconsin. First kid is Marcus Collins, and Marcus is on campus already. Unique situation for somebody to early enroll after his senior year or halfway through his senior year in high school. But he does a great job. He's already been in the weight room for us for the last month. And Marcus is a really mature young man. It takes one to come and leave your senior year of high school and enter college with it. And he's really fit in really well with our guys with it. He's 6'4". He's 210 pounds from La Follette High School in Madison, Wisconsin with it. He was an all-state defensive player at 6'4", 210. I remember watching him as a free safety. I remember watching him as a receiver. I remember watching him as a tight end. And us just saying, somehow we've got to get this guy into the program. He can play a multitude of things with it. His dad played linebacker for Wisconsin, and his dad's a big man. And Marcus has got size 15 feet. He's just going to continue to grow, and we're excited about the potential for Marcus. And with his versatility, he can help us in a lot of areas with it. Colin Connor. Another offensive lineman, a big offensive lineman from Iowa Grant High School in Mineral Point, Wisconsin, 6'5", 300-pounder. He was another camp guy that came here that did extremely well, was dominant on the boards, a board drill that we do all the time. He was extremely dominant on that. He was a 3-year starter. All-conference player on the offensive line and defensive line. He was the player of the year on the offensive line and defensive line in his conference with it. And so Colin's got great versatility as well. He'll be an interior defensive or offensive lineman for us, playing either the center or guard position. Also plays basketball and baseball, so another really good athlete. Next one, Nate Jensen from Opaka, Wisconsin. 6'6", 230-pound tight end. Another guy that came to camp with it. He played quarterback a little bit in high school. He played wide receiver. He played safety. He played defensive end. Extremely versatile guy with a tremendous upside and a tremendous athlete. And we look for a lot of great things from Nate. You know, we've had some pretty good luck with Jensen's from Opaka, and Nate, no relation to Brock, is excited to come here and join our program, and we'll start him off at the tight end position with it. Nebraska, let's check on the Nebraska guys, or the kids that we signed with it. First kid is Jalen Allison. I was very fortunate. I was able to work with Jalen on a daily basis when he came to camp, and he's a 6 foot, 170-pound corner from Papillion La Vista High School, and we're going to use him as a corner for us. He reminds me a lot of CJ. Extremely long, athletic guy that really physical at the point of attack. Extremely fast kid. Jalen's going to be a guy that, with these older kids that we have coming or finishing up at corner with it, Jalen will be a guy that we're excited about with his future. He's a kid that extremely fast, 118 tackles, 6 interceptions. He's going to play in the Nebraska Shrine game. He was an all-area and all-district performer as well. We're excited about Jalen. The next guy, Easton Stick, quarterback from Creighton Prep High School. I'm glad we have somebody from Creighton Prep not named Riley around here now. With Connor Riley being from Creighton Prep, every time I went down to Omaha, boy, did I get tired of hearing about Creighton Prep. From Connor. These guys I'm great about hearing from Creighton Prep, but from Coach Riley, I'm glad I get to talk to Easton and RJ about Creighton Prep now. But Easton was another camp kid. 6'2", 205-pound quarterback from Omaha. First team All-State as a senior. Came to our camp and lit it up. Did an unbelievable job at our camp. And it was really a no-brainer as our staff in the quarterback position. We always try to take one a year. That was the guy that we had tagged and earmarked as the guy we wanted, and we're extremely excited to have Easton join the program with it. He holds a majority of the passing records at his high school, threw 37 touchdowns in his career, also rushed for almost 1,000 yards and 23 touchdowns. So another guy that is extremely athletic, very versatile for us, and I already can tell in just visiting with him, great leadership skills, great character, great leadership skills. And that was one of the things that we looked at in a lot of these guys in this class is their character and leadership qualities. And we're really excited that Easton's coming to join the Bison with it. R.J. Urzendowski, also from Creighton Prep, was a wide receiver, 6 foot, 190 pounds. Camp kid, another guy. I remember watching him, putting the guys against him, putting the guys like Jalen Allison and some of the other kids that came to camp against him. Really smooth wide receiver. Has size at 6 foot 190. He's able to play the slot. He's able to play outside with it. Has very good speed with it. Was a 3-year starter. Holds the Nebraska career record for receptions and yards receiving. Was also a first-team All-State selection. He's selected to play in the Nebraska Shrine game as well as Easton. So really excited. RJ's also been on the baseball team, track team as well. He was a member of the record-setting 4x1 team that ran a 41-40, and we're really excited about what RJ is going to be able to do for us. All right, let's go to Missouri. All right, we got 2 kids out of Missouri. First kid, King Frazier. King is on campus right now. King is from Lee Summit High School, and he's transferred in here from Nebraska. Okay, King is a 6 foot, 220-pound running back, and you know the mold we're looking for at running back with it. We're really excited about what King is bringing to the table. He's already on campus. Another guy that joined Marcus at semester with it, and I recruited King myself out of Lee Summit about 3 years ago, and he ended up choosing Nebraska. And his coach, his high school coach, called me and said that King had expressed some interest in transferring, and we were really excited to have King here join our program with it. He's got an opportunity to compete, and it gives us some more depth at that running back position with it. He ran for 1,400 yards and 16 touchdowns his senior year in high school. He carried the ball 12 times for 44 yards at Nebraska last year, and so we're excited about King being in the program. Next kid from Missouri is Darius Shepard, from right now the best team in the state of Missouri. Blue Springs High School has won the last 2 upper class state championships in Missouri. Kelly Donahoe is the head coach there. I know Kelly really well, and kids that come out of his program have always had great success with it. And Darius is a 5'11", 185-pound wide receiver, 2-time All-State, back-to-back state championship team. They had 5 kids going to Division I today. They had 5 kids out of that high school going to Division I, and it's interesting. They had one going to Colorado State, a couple going to Kansas State, and Darius is kind of smiling because he's wearing the Bison hat today, and we beat both those schools. So we're excited about Darius coming here. He was 27-1 in the last 2 seasons, 229 yards receiving in a game this year. He also returns punts, returns kicks. He played defense. He's going to be a wide receiver for us here, but we're extremely excited about Darius joining the program with it. South Dakota, we had one young man sign scholarship, Dan Marlette, 6'2", 195-pound linebacker from Sioux Falls from Washington High School. He was another guy that came to camp. I was extremely excited about Dan after camp. A very athletic, long kid, two-time All-State and All-Conference linebacker. This guy does it all. Dan's a great wrestler as well. He's a three-time state qualifier in wrestling. In track, he placed second in the 300 hurdles, fourth in the triple jump, and fifth in the long jump last year, as well as playing linebacker. So that's a pretty doggone good athlete, and we're really excited about Dan coming to NDSU. He also returned kicks and punts for him. All right, Iowa. One young man out of Iowa, Lance Dunn, is a 5'9", 200-pound running back from Waterloo West High School. Same high school that Coach Entz, our defensive coordinator, went to. I went to Waterloo Columbus, the rival high school of Lance. But Lance is an extremely fast, powerful running back. He was a second-team All-State selection. He helped West to back-to-back state playoff appearances for the first time in 20 years with it. He set a single-game record with 336 all-purpose yards. He was a three-year letter winner in track, member of a 4x100 team that broke the state record in the state of Iowa, conference champ in the 100-meter, conference champ in the 200-meter with it. Extremely athletic, very fast young man, and with his size at 5'9", 200, fits our mold again of what we're looking for a running back with it. So we're excited to have Lance. Illinois, we signed one kid out of Illinois, Dakota Reed. Dakota is a defensive back, could play corner, could play safety for us. We're going to start him off at corner. Dakota's from Morgan Park High School. He's 5'9", 175-pounder. He was a three-year starter, really physical corner. Reminds me a lot of what you guys saw a couple years ago in Andre Martin with it, a guy that can really do a great job tackling people, great job in coverage, extremely smart young man that will be a great addition to our defensive backfield here. He started for 3 years. He's also lettered 3 years in track, and he's from the same high school as Joe Mays, so we know there's a pretty good school there. One kid from Michigan, Blake Williams. Blake Williams is a defensive tackle from Romeo High School in Washington, Michigan. He's 6'4", 250-pound defensive tackle. I had the pleasure of watching Blake play basketball this year, and very athletic, extremely athletic, great feet, was able to bend. He had a really good game that day, so he's been a All-State player, three-year starter on the defensive line as well as tight end. He's going to play in the Michigan versus Ohio All-Star game on ESPN in June, and that's a pretty special thing. If you're from Michigan or Ohio and you're selected to play in that, you're a pretty doggone good football player, and they get a lot of publicity. Michigan and Ohio football, as many of you know, is extremely talented football. He had 17 tackles in a playoff game. His senior year, he had 25 tackles for loss, and he had 7 sacks with it. All right? One kid from Florida, one young man from Florida, Isaac Senescar, is a defensive back from Orlando and went to Cypress Creek High School. And Isaac competed just recently in the Orange County All-Star game. Isaac's extremely fast, extremely athletic young man. He was named to the Central Florida Super 60 team. He knows Chris Board that was on our team this year from that area as well. He's lettered 4 times. He's also a member of the track and field team, 3.8 GPA, and wants to get into pre-med, speaks 3 different languages. And he's a very, very intriguing young man to talk to, and I really enjoyed him when he was up here this past weekend. We also added a number of walk-ons, which we know is so important to our program here at NDSU. A lot of our walk-ons earn scholarships. Some of them earn them very quickly. And we were really fortunate to land the amount of kids that we did in the walk-on position. Caleb Butler is the first young man from Blaine High School in Blaine, Minnesota. Another one of our camp guys. Came to camp, really versatile athlete with it. We're going to play him at defensive end. Ian Gallagher, a kicker-punter from Bigfoot High School in Walworth, Wisconsin. Really strong leg. Been in the Coles kicking camp with it. He's more of a punter, but we're going to work on his kicking and see if we can get him to do both with it. Levi Hoiby from Powers Lake High School in Powers Lake, North Dakota. 6'4", 230-pound defensive tackle. Another guy that came to camp with it. 2-time All-State player. Started at the O-line last year. He's also played quarterback and played running back out at Powers Lake High School for a kid 6'4", 230. We're really excited to get Levi. Levi Jordan, another guy that came to camp. I really remember Levi doing an exceptional job at linebacker in camp. He could play a lot of positions. He's 6'2", he's 190 pounds. He could be a linebacker, he could be a strong safety. I liked his athleticism, and I'm excited about Levi joining us as well from Dickinson High School in North Dakota. Isaac Lashua from Iola, Scandinavia, right? Where Goose is from, where Coach Polisek is from, where Lucas Albers is from. We've had a lot of luck at Iola, Scandinavia, and there's no pressure on Isaac, but he'll do a great job. He's 6'4", 235-pound tight end that we're really excited about. That was a position that we really wanted to continue to get some guys from. He's a guy that we really think we can develop with Coach Kramer's program, and we're excited that Isaiah is joining us with it. Next one is Nathan Preston, the one fullback that we have in this class. And as you guys know how important a fullback is at North Dakota State, Nathan does too. And he's so excited to be a Bison with it. He's from New Prague High School in New Prague, Minnesota. Another guy that came to camp, played running back and had over 3,500 all-purpose yards last year and over 100 wins in wrestling. So you put a wrestler and a tailback, combination fullback in our backfield with it, with the likes of guys like Grothman and stuff. This kid's right in that same mold with it. And Nathan's 6'2", 225 pounds, and he won the Rumble and the Red champion in his weight class at 220 pounds last year, and we're excited about Nathan. Aaron Steidel, a 6'3", 260-pound defensive tackle from Alexandria, Minnesota, Jefferson High School. Another guy that did a great job at camp, and Coach Gazer mentioned this today. When he came to camp, he was just about 230 pounds. He came in on our visit this weekend, and he measured in at 260. So he's continuing to grow and continuing to blossom, and I see Kramer kind of salivating. He was ready to go with Aaron right off the bat, but he's playing hockey, so he's a really good athlete with it. We're going to use him at defensive tackle, and we're excited about Aaron joining our program as well. So we have a number of guys that we signed. We have a number of kids that have committed to us to be walk-ons as well, to be preferred walk-ons. With the combination of that within our class with it, we're real excited. We did a great job as coaches. The assistants did an unbelievable job in getting all this stuff squared away, in communicating with these guys. There were some challenges, obviously, in doing all this in a month. But I was really proud of our staff, really proud of all the people that helped us with it, and I'll open up for any questions.
Coach, how difficult was this after the transition of you taking over to make sure the guys that are already verbal stayed with you?
Well, there was no question. We re-recruited those kids. We didn't take anything for granted just because somebody had verbaled. Everybody knows in this profession with it, a verbal means some but doesn't mean everything. You still have to get to know that young man and those families with it. And that's why I commend our staff. What a great job they did of, okay, this kid's committed, but he didn't know his position coach or he didn't know his coordinator. And so we got into those homes. We got those kids to come in on their visit with it. That was a neat thing for us. We hadn't had many of those kids on official visits yet. So we re-recruited all of them. Even if they felt they were solid, we went out there and re-recruited those kids.
Coach, how important was it to get most of these kids in camp as opposed to relying on film or some other type of?
That's critical to us. It is so critical. Our camp is the number one resource we have in recruiting. It always has been, and it always will be. And that's why our numbers are so good at camp. There's so many scholarship players at camp. There's a lot of other coaches from other schools with it. Our camp has been a great resource for us.
You call North Dakota the lifeblood in terms of recruiting, and you got a pretty significant amount of North Dakota recruits coming in. You talked just a little about having guys close to home and building kind of a base here in your home state.
Well, I know this, and I've learned this in the last few years, and I'm so pleased to have Randy Hedberg join our staff, who knows North Dakota as well as probably any coach that I've been around knows North Dakota. Those kids love to be a part of the Bison program, and I know that, and I want to embrace that. I'm going to get out to all these high schools this spring and stuff and visit with these coaches and stuff, but it's imperative for us. And when a young man wants to be a Bison, by gosh, we're going to give him that opportunity to be a Bison. And if they show great interest in us, we want to show great interest in them and get those kids to fulfill that dream and become a Bison.
Coach, were the two Creighton prep kids always a package deal?
No, they were not. They're friends or stuff, but no, absolutely not. I think it kind of just happened that way.
Chris, the other staff, many went to Wyoming. There's always the question of how did you stack up when it was all said and done?
We got the kids we wanted, and we got the kids that we wanted, and most importantly, and you ask any of our players on the team, you got to want to be a Bison. Something special about being a Bison, and none of us as coaches are going to beg a kid to come here. And this group of guys, they all want it to be here, and we're really excited to coach these guys. Well, two things we look for. Two things. There's talented kids in here. There's no question about that. Two things we look for. They had to have great character, because we lost 24 seniors with unbelievable character. Unbelievable character. So these kids had to have great character, and they had to have great work ethic. And we know that we've have that with these guys here.
A lot of walk-ons, more than I can remember in my 7 years here. Was there any particular reason for that, for having more preferred walk-ons than the past years?
We probably emphasized it a little bit more. Something that I talked to the guys about as we got into January, that I thought that was really important. I know this, playing as long as we have played the last 3 years, and being the defensive coordinator and seeing all those kids for me on offense, and I look at it and say, boy, that kid's on his, whatever, 150th practice of the year, whatever it may be, and that kid's working his tail off for these guys, for the Colton Heagles and those guys that are playing with it. I know how important those kids are to this program.
One thing I looked at when I looked at a lot of these kids is a lot of these kids can all run. Do you anticipate that a lot of these guys might be flip-flopping around to other positions just because of their kind of diverse in that respect?
Potentially. You know, we always bring them in and let them play the position that they want to start off with, but you're right. We have really good athleticism and really good speed there, and so there may be a case where somebody moves around. That was the interesting thing. You look at all the kids that are in that 6 foot to 6'3" range that are between 195 and 215 pounds with it. That's what we like. Allows us a lot of versatility.
Expect more walk-ons, Chris?
Do I expect more?
Yeah, a couple weeks or.
Possibly. I haven't really given it much thought.
Are you done, or you still have more to go?
We're not done. We're always looking potentially for another guy or two, but you know, the core of our group is done. No question about that. We are potentially still maybe looking for one.
You went to Michigan and Missouri, two spots that NDSU traditionally hasn't gone to. Explain the reasoning behind those two states.
Well, Michigan, Coach Polasek and Coach Entz had built a relationship with Blake, and so and then Blake came to a game here, so that became a big part of it with Blake. Missouri, those two kids are Kansas City kids. They were just on the Missouri side, so I've always gone there, and so two great programs at Lee Summit and Blue Springs.
Any that are ready to play right away?
We'll find out. You know, I talked to a lot of them that have that interest and said, you know, let's visit again like on August 22nd or 23rd when we're a week away from playing the Cyclones, and let's see, are you mature enough? Are you ready to go? Obviously, we'll redshirt the majority of these guys, but there's a potential. I couldn't even begin to think which one, but there's a potential that we would maybe play one or two.